First of all, I would like to thank you for coming today and to tell you what I'm going to talk about today is a little controversial, a little on the edge. So if it's too much for you, it's okay. It doesn't represent any official stance of the church. It's just my experience, my personal perception, and my experience of what I'm going to share with you today. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk to you about my EVP conversation with a reptilian. This is freezing.
You're cold?
It's freezing.
I don't know if you're out here.
Well, the reptilians probably like it cold, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
So that's,
I don't know if you noticed this or not. When her and I were standing up here and looking at each other, my hair is standing up everywhere. I have goosebumps everywhere right now. And when she stood up here, I don't know if any of you caught it, but the lights were flickering. So there's a lot of energy up here right now. So when you see us conversing, I'm just like, woo! And now she's over here freezing, and you're the only one that's
well,
cold.
that's because it's blowing right over
Yeah,
my
it's
head.
good.
That cold air. I don't know if anyone knows how to turn it down, just like.
Sometimes
Do they turn?
those louvers turn and
It's
leave.
okay, it's okay. I'll probably get hot in a minute anyway, so that's okay. I'll just play by ear. Okay. So anyways, what I'm going to do today is I'm going to talk about this EVP conversation with what I fully believe was a reptilian in my living room. Now, EVP is abbreviation for electronic voice phenomenon. And this, you can use a free audio editing software program and a lot of dedication and a lot of persistence. You can communicate with loved ones in spirit, spirit people, spirit guides, and extraterrestrials. My hobby, honestly, since the death of my daughter in 2011, is to just find to the ends of the universe what the heck is going on and what lies beyond our physical body and where my daughter is and everything about the world outside our human perception. So if that's what drives me to go so far, if you're wondering. Now, a search of WikiLeaks, which is a whistleblower website, pulls up over 250 emails between top government officials around the world, which clearly indicate people with top secret clearance know full well that extraterrestrials live on and visit planet Earth. NASA also continually puts out just kind of subtle, small bits of information letting people know we are not alone. And an interesting thing, I need to learn a little more about this, but interestingly enough, the Vatican also has, and I don't know the name, but the cameras flying out in the universe around the sun, they also own them. They also have an interest in this. This is not hooey-pooey out there. This is established, well-known fact. But several years ago, I did a purposeful out-of-body experience. I left my body, went on the roof, saw my neighborhood, went down to the ocean, skimmed the ocean like a pelican, and that's about when they pull me up through the wormhole. And the trick to that is to not be afraid. So the trick to that, not being afraid, is to always work with your spirit guides and the ones that you trust to the point where you can let go. Because the second you are afraid, you're boom, back in your body. So that's how those work. But on this particular out-of-body experience, when I arrived at my destination, coming up the wormhole, I saw 3 aliens for the first time. Now, prior to this out-of-body experience, I really had no opinion at all on aliens or ETs whatsoever. The 3 that I saw looked similar to grays. They seemed to be simply observing me. I felt no fear for anything, any of the energy. There was no fear there. My thought was, when I saw them, was, oh wow, They're real. That's why people draw them like that. This is what they really look like. The interesting part was, after that OBE, I did become open-minded and interested in the subject of extraterrestrial life, and open to the fact that aliens, or the proper word extraterrestrials, truly did exist. So fast forward to 2017, and my mother, Carol, crossed into spirit. So in May of 2018, I asked her by EVP to describe her experiences after leaving her body. Now, she said a whole lot more than this. The EVP was very long, but at one point, she said something that sounded like a description of a reptilian. And my mother was never into, I never heard her talk about aliens or anything. And so I was just like, what? And so after that, I decided to attempt to summon a reptilian to my living room, which is to ask very respectfully and prayerfully and with guides. I called for a reptilian. Now, I had a few conversations with a reptilian. Same reptilian, the same one. And what I'm going to talk about today is just one of those conversations. In preparing this speech, I knew it was supposed to be about reptilians, but I didn't really have a plan or a certain topic. And so I opened up a file full of EVPs, and I just scanned for reptilian in the title. The first one I clicked on was May 2018, which is over a year ago. And it was synchronicity how the subject matter fits so well with what is going on in our world right now, with the Amazon rainforest burning. The Amazon rainforest is so important. The earth, it has been called the lungs of our planet. I'm going to share some of this conversation today that I had with the reptilian, but I have to tell you a couple things first. One question I get sometimes is, how do you know who you are talking to? How do you know it's not just some spirit pretending to be a reptilian? And that's a valid question. In this case, I could feel his presence physically. Aside from the EVP, I could feel this reptilian in my living room with my physical body, and I am a medium and a physical medium, and so I may have a heightened senses, but his energy was so strong. I'm sitting on my couch, and this is 3 or 4 feet away from me, 7 feet tall, and I literally felt like a mouse at the paw of a lion. The particular EVP that I'm talking about today was 25 minutes long, but the conversation actually took place over a couple hours of time. Because each time he talked, I would go back and listen to the EVP a few times to what he was saying before I would ask my next question. The reptilian was very interesting, and he taught me about things I had never even thought about before. The main subject the reptilian was concerned about was the destruction of planet Earth by the humans. The reptilian explained to me how many entities share the planet Earth while living in multiple dimensions. These beings live full-time outside the range of human frequency perception. Think of ecosystem, since that refers to the world we see and the interactions of plants and animals and food chain and that kind of thing. So think of it just as an analogy, but outside of our perception, our physical limited sense perception that is only like 1% of what machines pick up, right? There exist entire interactive dimensions where there is full living beings that share the atmosphere of this planet and depend on the atmosphere as much as we do for their continued ability to live here. So here are some quotes, what the reptilian said about this crisis. He said, these are quotes, planet Earth is not in good shape right now. Everybody thinks they can just keep doing what they are doing, but when they kill the Earth's atmosphere, radiation will take over and kill everything. The humans must stop immediately with the destruction of planet Earth. It does not mean that they cannot enjoy themselves. It just means that they need to learn to live very simply. Stop polluting the atmosphere. If everybody would just live simply, then we can save the planet. I hope that you can tell them. Now, at one point, I heard the reptilian use the word annihilated. And then I got kind of scared. I was like, what? Are the reptilians going to annihilate the humans? Ah! I got a little scared, right? So it's like you got to listen really close, listen over and over. And I said, what are you talking about? So he said, the humans are not going to be annihilated, Donna. I never said that. I said, when the humans discover they have destroyed Earth's atmosphere, they will not be able to recover the planet, and then they will never be able to repair planet Earth. And if the people of planet Earth do not take this seriously, then they will be annihilated. Donna, it does not help to say anything that scares people. If everybody would just take care of the planet, we would not face the extinction of the human race. Don't get scared, though, that's all right. Okay, so anyways, so after that I thought, what does annihilated mean anyways? What does this mean? So I Googled it, love the internet, Googled annihilated for a definition. And what that word actually means is the total conversion of particles into energy. So what he's saying is if the atmosphere is destroyed, the radiation's just gonna come in, that's all. Okay, so the reptilian, so move on from the climate, which is very, very important to him. The reptilian also referred to humans that build spaceships and think that they're going to go find some other planet to live on. Quote, this is his quote, "It doesn't matter if anyone tries to leave. They will not be allowed to land. There is not a place that would take a human after they have destroyed the planet they lived on." Okay. So I think that the main reason he was coming through was this climate crisis. He calls it a crisis. But okay, so that was what he had to say about the atmosphere. He also then addressed some false beliefs regarding reptilians. He stated that humans tell many stories about reptilians which are false. These stereotypes cause fear. These stereotypes are ingrained in us through movies and stories. And it is worth considering that somebody somewhere benefits from maintaining that fear in you by repeating these stereotypes often enough that they become part of your belief system. His quote, "What people say about reptilians is not the truth. They do not think humans are their enemy." He also said that reptilians do not like being blamed for the bad actions that humans do to themselves and to each other. That is insulting to the reptilians to blame them for human activity. Other things he told me. He said reptilians were on planet Earth before humans were ever here. They have been here the entire time. Some people think, oh, maybe they were here and they're gone and maybe they're coming back and oh, they're going to eat us all or whatever. I had asked him, where are you from? And that was why he answered that. Another thing is that they're able to control the frequency of vibration of their body, which is why you'll hear sometimes someone glimpsed a reptilian and then turned back and it was gone, because they can change the way the frequency, the vibration, and the molecules vibrate in their body. And so they live it just outside of our range. They can come into it. And it does sound like they have some sort of rule about not showing themselves to humans. because humans are often frightened by things they don't understand. And also, so I asked him, well, okay, so I was talking to him, and I'm like, where are you from? And then he told me that, and I said, well, where before that? Like, where did your people originate from? And he said, Orion, which I thought was really interesting because at that time, I knew very little to nothing about astronomy. And so I didn't ask more questions because I didn't know if that was Orion was a planet, but it's actually a star system that has multiple planets. So that's where his species was from. So now he's also willing to answer more questions. And this is a quote from the EVP. I said, question, is there anything else you want me to say? Anything you want me to get out there? And thank you, I appreciate you answering questions. His answer was, and this is a quote, I'm willing to answer any questions that you have. Aside from answering questions, I can inform you of many things you did not know. If anybody wants to ask questions, have them asked through the EVP, and I will try to answer them as much as I can. I don't think even half the things we talked about are in the minds of most human beings, but we would like the humans to be aware of us. Okay, so to wrap this up, I can honestly tell you that yes, I do believe that I was visited and had several conversations with a real reptilian. That is my belief. And, you know, I don't know what to tell you, but I just want to tell you that yes, I do believe this is correct. Okay, but I'm not wanting to convince everyone and this and that. I'm just telling you the message and about EVPs and how interesting they are. Okay, so I transcribed the one EVP that I took this from, and it's 4 pages, but you know,